Hi, this is Joe Ziemba, the host of When Football Was Football here on the Sports History Network. Aside from my podcasting duties, I'm also a sports collector. And as such, I'm very pleased to share the exciting news that the Sports History Network has partnered with Rochester Sports Autographs, the largest JSA authenticated autograph distributor in the United States, where you can get deals on over 30,000 autograph sports collectibles. So as a collector, I was very pleased when I visited the site of Rochester Sports Autographs. The massive inventory is easy to search, carefully documented, and visually appealing. The options seem limitless, whether you're looking for an autographed baseball, signed football helmets, or basketball jerseys, among thousands of others. I found everything from a Babe Ruth autograph, a signed football by Dick Butkus, and an autographed Larry Bird basketball jersey. And as a collector, you'll be delighted with the very competitive pricing on JSA authenticated products. Made possible since RSA deals directly with athletes, so there's no extra markup, and the savings are passed on directly to the customer. Perhaps you're looking for an early gift for Mother's Day or Father's Day. Heck, who needs a holiday as an excuse to give a piece of sports history to your loved ones? Or how about yourself? Today seems like a great day to add to your own sports collection, right? RSA even has film, music, and other entertainment autographs on the site, so there's something for everyone. All orders from Rochester Sports Autographs are top quality and shipped to your door with top authentication and a money-back guarantee. And to make sure RSA knows that the Sports History Network sent you, we created a special link for you. All you need to do is head to shoprsa.com/SHN. That's shoprsa.com/SHN to get your own piece of sports history today.
Now it's time to take a sports break, a look at sports history on a daily basis. Hello, my friends of sports history. This is Darren Hayes of the Sports History Dispatch podcast. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your portal to all things great in sports history, and welcome to another edition of your sports break as we talk about some of the great people, teams, and events that happened in sports history on the date of May 10th through history. And boy, we've got a bunch of variety of greatness for you today. And let's just say, a lot of it has to do with number 4 in hockey. We'll get to that in just a moment. But before we do, let's make sure you're aware of our media presence on social media. And that is Twitter. We are at Pigskin Dispatch. And Facebook, we have the Pigskin Dispatch page. We'd love to have you follow us on both. Love to have some interaction with you and share some items and talk about some great sports history. Another great way to find out more about the sports history and Sports History Network and the Pig Pen from yesteryear Hub Sports. Now let's get into the history of May 10th. We're going to start off in the football realm. In 1890, on the 10th of May, the Rules Convention for the college football, which was, not the NCAA yet, it was, the Intercollegiate Rules Committee of Football, put in place that an injured player removed from the game could not return to the contest. Now, players were getting injured, but still staying on the field when they should have been being treated by medical staff. Note, this was, of course, eventually overturned, but there was a substitution rule that lasted until about 1941, where the players could be substituted for during the game, but not like today's rules where they could return the game during the same period or intermission they left in. In 1933, in the Spalding's NCAA rulebook, when they did return, they had to report to the umpire prior to replacing another player, and it had to be in a different quarter from when they left. So players had to be careful leaving the field for whatever reason, where they might not be able to get in for some period of time. Now we have one Hall of Fame birthday from football, and his name is Charlie O'Rourke. He was born in Montreal, Quebec, May 10th, 1917, and played for Boston College as a quarterback from 1938 through the 1940 season. He was put in the College Football Hall of Fame in 1972. Yes, sir. Some great football history for this May 10th. And now let's flip over to the other side on Jersey Dispatch, where we talk about some of the other sports and their great histories and players. In May 10th, 1946, Joe DiMaggio hit a grand slam home run to provide all of the offense for the New York Yankees, but it wasn't quite enough on this day as the streaking Boston Red Sox won their 15th straight game of the young season. They beat the Yanks by the score of 5-4. So, number 5 had a great day, but not good enough. Speaking of greatness, how about number 44, Hank Aaron? On May 10th, 1967, he would love to launch balls over the wall, and we'd love to remember him for that. But on this day, we can recant a feat of sports history where he used his wheels to make the game a little bit more exciting. Aaron hit his only inside of the park home run of his illustrious career against the Philadelphia Phillies on this day, and their man on the hill was Jim Bunning of the Phillies, and out a record of 755 home runs of Hammer and Hank. This is the only one that did not go over the wall. Is only in the park, inside the park home run. Now, May 10th, 1970, at the Stanley Cup Final played in the Boston Garden, number 4, Bobby Orr, who we're going to talk about a lot in this segment, scored the legendary overtime winner to lift Boston over the St. Louis Blues for a 4-3 victory and a 4-0 Bruins series sweep. Now, Beantown went crazy as this was the first Bruins NHL title since 1941. So quite a drought there, but Bobby Orr, he's a great one for a reason, and definitely was on that day. Now, speaking of Bobby Orr, let's go back a couple years earlier. And this comes from the Hockey Writers website, hockeywriters.com. May 10th, 1968, number 4 Bobby Orr was named the winner of the Norris Trophy for being voted as the NHL's top defenseman. This was the first Norris win for Orr, and he went on to win every single one of these between this date in 1968 and that in 1975. So quite a run for Bobby Orr. Now, in 1973, on the 10th of May, the Blackhawks number 7, Pitt Martin, scored a hat trick as the Chicago Blackhawks lost 6-4 to the Montreal Canadiens, the 6th and deciding game of the Stanley Cup Finals. The win made the Canadiens the 1973 Stanley Cup champions, and boy, what a run they had back in that decade. Now we go back into the realm of baseball. We love to dip and go to a couple of our favorite sites. And this day in baseball always has some good stuff to going on. Tens and dozens of events that happen on each day of the baseball season. And this one that we're picking today comes from May 10th, 1904, as the St. Louis Cardinals beat up on Christy Mathewson, the great pitcher, scoring 5 runs and knocking him out after the first inning. Now, that's a Hall of Famer getting knocked out in the first inning, so that's no slight at all. Now, St. Louis continued shelling the next pitchers, and the next one after that, they won 14-1, and Matty, now 4-2, will not lose to St. Louis in his next 24 decisions. I think he got a little bit ticked off here by getting knocked out in that first inning, and goes 24 decisions without losing to the Cardinals, and that is quite a feat in itself. I don't care what era you're playing in, that's quite a bit. Speaking about great pitchers, how about the great Walter Johnson? On May 10th, 1910, he dropped to a record of 2-5 in the early season, and the Washington Post suggests that the Nats trade this phenom for a couple of good fielders. Boy, were they wrong, because Walter Johnson would come back and have a brilliant rest of his career. Didn't lose anything there. Just had a little shaky start, maybe dusting off the cobwebs a little bit, and who knows how the fielders behind him were playing in that era. But a great one all the same. Now, another website we love to go for our baseball history is, you know, that Jay Daniel, our good friend, he has the 80sbaseball.com website. Always has some brilliant items going on. He has a couple trades from May 10th. And in 1981, it was the Brewers that ended up trading Buck Martinez to the Blue Jays for Gil Kabuski. Martinez played the final 6 seasons of his career there in Toronto, north of the border. And the Pirates on May 10th, 1989, traded Kem Oberkfell to the Giants for Roger Samuels. Now, Obi finishes the year with the Giants, then moves on to Houston and finishes his career with the Angels, a great mercenary that played in a lot of different teams and contributed everywhere he went. And that is from 80sbaseball.com, and we thank both those sites for their brilliant job on keeping the baseball history alive. Now, another site that we love to go to, NBA.com, has a couple of great nuggets of NBA hardwood basketball history. And this first one has happened on May 10th, 1993, and former NBA players Julius Erving, number 6, Walt Bellamy, number 8, Dan Issel, number 44, Dan McGuire, who wore that 15 proudly, Calvin Murphy, one of the original great number 23s, and Bill Walton, number 32, were all inducted in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. You can still visit them there up in Massachusetts, and we'd love to go to another date, May 10th, 2012, led by number 9, Andre Iguodala's 20-point game, and the Philadelphia 76ers defeated the Chicago Bulls in Game 6 of their first-round series to win that series, and with that win, the number 8 seeded 76ers upset and outlasted the number 1 seeded Bulls, marking the first time in NBA history that this happened in the first round in back-to-back seasons. Now that is some great history of basketball, hockey, baseball, football. We covered the big 4 in North American sports, and we try to do it each and every day. We are so glad that you were able to join us once again. Hope you'll join us. Sign up for our newsletter. Go to the show notes and find out what the sports history is going on each day. And join us for the podcast. You can click it as one of your favorites at your favorite podcast provider at sportshistorynetwork.com, or join us on jerseydispatch.com and pigskindispatch.com to find the latest. Until next time, everybody, have a great sports history day. We're dribbling around and see the shot clock's almost out, so we got to put up our shot and come back tomorrow for some more great sports history. We invite you to check out our websites, jerseydispatch.com and pigskindispatch.com, not only see the daily sports history, but to experience the preservation of great events and people that play the games. Find us on Pigskin Dispatch. It's also on social media outlets of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all your daily sports history. Pigskin Dispatch is happy to be associated with the Sports History Network, the sports headquarters of yesteryear, found at sportshistorynetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hi, this is Joe Ziemba, the host of When Football Was Football, here on the Sports History Network. I'm very pleased to announce that I will be partnering with the Sports History Network to give away 2 copies of my latest book called Bears vs. Cardinals, the NFL's Oldest Rivalry. To enter, just head over to the following link, sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways. We hope you'll enjoy the numerous stories in the book, which is largely based on the newly released Dutch Sterneman collection at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Dutch was the co-owner of the early Chicago Bears with George Halas and kept correspondence, financial records, and scouting reports, which now allow us to peek into the management of an NFL club during the first few years of the league's existence. Along the way, we'll meet unusual gridiron characters from years gone by, including a quarterback who could throw the ball farther behind his back than he could throwing it forward, a Bears lineman who was such a good tavern fighter that he decided to enter the boxing universe, and a Cardinals halfback who gave up the NFL rushing title by deciding to not show up for his team's final game of the season. And can we forget the time the Al Capone mob interrupted a Bears-Cardinals game? The new book was fun to research, and I hope you will enter our free contest today. Once the winners are selected, we'll be in touch regarding shipping as well as to inscribe the book personally for you. This might make a perfect gift for Mother's or Father's Day, or simply add it to your own personal collection. Once again, enter by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways. Thank you and good luck.